Trey Gowdy, a former House Oversight Committee chairman and now a Fox News contributor, joins me now. Trey, good to see you as always. I want to put up a poll. This is a new AP poll that came out today that shows that 75% of people who are watching all this, or folks who answered this poll, obviously, say that it's not at all likely, not at all likely, that this process will change their mind in terms of how they feel about all of this. Does that surprise you?
It does not, only that the number's so low. I mean, what it requires to change people's minds is new facts. And I've heard nothing that Adam didn't trot out in front of the House before the impeachment vote. He couldn't get a single Republican in the House to vote for impeachment. In fact, he lost Democrats. So unless you're going to have new facts, I don't think people's positions are going to change.
You know, let me just put another poll up here. 63% in the Pew poll say that President Trump acted illegally. And then forward to this one, 51%, only 51% say that he should be removed from office for it. So what does that tell you about how people look at politics?
It tells me they read the article about the GAO. That the president broke the law. They're assuming that there's a criminality, that it was a criminal law, and they didn't read the follow-up articles that, oh, by the way, almost every president has run afoul of the GAO, including President Obama implementing the law that was named after him. So when I hear 51% of my fellow citizens want to remove him from office, what that tells me is they would acquit him too. Because it has to be 67%. That's what our framers decided. It has to be 2/3. So if barely half of my fellow citizens want to remove him from office, then do the opposite of what Schiff argued today. Wait until November. Yeah. Don't do it now. If you can't meet the threshold the founders set, then do it in November if that's what my fellow citizens want to do.
You know, one of the things that strikes me when you watch Adam Schiff telling his side of the story and representing the House Judiciary and intel process that we saw play out is that when you think about it, in many ways, the Democrats, they allowed themselves to sort of lose control of the process here. They pushed it along very quickly. So while it was in the House, they were in control. They had the reins. They could have made the choice to start to put some of this through the legal process and really push for these witnesses, right? But then they sat on it for 33 days, sent it over to the Senate. And now it seems that there's a lot of frustration that they can't sort of get it back into their court so that they can control some of this stuff. But that moment is past, right?
Yeah, you know, Martha, it is tough and it is time-consuming to run real investigations. I got a lot of criticism for the 2 years I took trying to get documents and information from the Obama administration. But unfortunately, that's the way the system works. It takes time and effort and ingenuity to run credible investigations. So what Schiff decided was, I'm not going to call Bolton, I'm not going to call Mulvaney or Pompeo, I'm not even going to send a subpoena to them. I'm going to wait till it gets in the Senate, and then if the Republican senators are dumb enough, and they're not, but if they're dumb enough to do what I would not do, then we can all hear for the first time whatever this evidence is. But Adam had 3 months to do whatever it is he now wants the jury to do. He's the prosecutor. It's his job to build the case and then present it. He didn't want to do it. He was on some artificial timeline. He had to get it to the Senate, but for the 3-week hiccup they had to get it to the Senate. And now he wants Cory Gardner and Joni Ernst and Tom Tillis and Martha McSally to cast difficult votes on something he could have and should have done months ago.
You know, I thought it was interesting. There was a lot of discussion about Hamilton. There has been a lot of discussion about the Founding Fathers, and I think that's probably fitting when you consider impeachment, which is a very grave choice and decision on the part of the American people and the representatives. Adam Schiff said this in his opening argument, invoking Hamilton for the prosecution side. Watch this.
We are here today in this hallowed chamber, undertaking this solemn action for only the 3rd time in history because Donald J. Trump, the 45th President of the United States, has acted precisely as Hamilton and his contemporaries feared.
And he's referring to the section where Hamilton spoke about, a bold individual who basically, gets out of control for his own power. I'm badly paraphrasing Hamilton there. But here is the Hamilton quote that the White House put out today that they feel is the significant one. Hamilton and Jefferson warned about a majority using impeachment for political purposes. The founders warned that impeachment was to be used for only the most egregious offenses, and that's their paraphrasing quote on that. So, how do you sort of parse those two things? How do you really figure out what the founding fathers, how they would have looked at this situation?
Well, you look at how they set it up. It is really, really difficult to remove a chief executive from office. And it's got to be more than some nebulous abuse of office. I mean, Martha, remember President Obama, for whom no one advocated impeaching, went on the floor of the House and said, I'm going to do it with or without you because I have a pen and a phone. He failed to implement the law that he named after himself. He summarily decided not to enforce immigration and narcotics trafficking law. And then he made up a spontaneous reaction to a video because he wanted to get reelected. No one said you should be removed from office from that. We're going to have an election. He beat Romney. Fair enough. But somehow the standard is different for a phone call that you can read for yourself. Your viewers can read the phone call. Who brought up Giuliani's name? It was the second call, not the first. He said a favor for us, our country. Read it for yourself. And if you think that conduct warrants not being the President of the United States, then don't vote for him in November. But to summarily remove someone from office based on the content of that transcript, that's why no Republicans voted for it in the House, and that's why no Republicans will vote to convict him.
Trey Gowdy, always good to see you, sir. Thank you very much.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.